Who is in the mix this week for round 19 against West Coast? It's a chance for the Tigers to go back-to-back, would you believe? We get another opportunity against an opponent that is kind of on level pegging with us, but they're going to be out for blood. They are desperately going to be wanting to win this game, the Eagles, after we knocked them off at the G. And as cliche as this will sound, they will be treating this like their grand final, and I hope that we do the same, because a chance to go back-to-back wins in a season that's not been a great one for us, win-loss ratio-wise, would be a very, very nice way to end the back half of the year. But a bit to play out, and then, look, there's no forced changes this week. We've obviously came through with a clean bill of health, which is obviously of the utmost importance. But the question still remains, will there be any forced changes on the table to consider? Now, the injury report came out today, and the two most interesting ones on that list were Harry Armstrong and Jasper ALGER. Both have been declared available and fit to play. And looking at all the commentary around Serpil and Uze with the articles and the interviews and things like that, reading between the lines, I really do get the feeling that they are being in serious contention to pick Harry Armstrong to play this week. I don't know if I fully agree with it. I know there's going to be a lot of people who don't agree with it, and there'll be some that do agree with it. He's missed, 14 or 15 weeks with the hamstring injury, and he didn't play. He was meant to play the last couple of weeks, but I think he was sick, so it wasn't related to the hammy as to why he wasn't playing. But I guess when it comes down to, do we think that Harry Armstrong offers more than what Cozzy offers up forward? I don't know. I mean, I actually kind of feel like I'd be happy for Cozzy to go again for another week. Like, he's learned a little bit from last week, and maybe having that stability and predictability helps us for the next week. I'm not at all scared about Harry Armstrong playing off the back of no VFL from a reoccurrence perspective. Maybe I should be scared, but he will have done a mountain of work, and they would have done a lot of thorough testing to make sure he's ticking all the fitness boxes. They've got the GPS kilometres and all that kind of stuff, because the VFL's got the bye this week, so this is the reason why it's come up. Jasper ALGER, I can definitely see coming into calculations, given that it wasn't soft tissue. I would have no hesitation in him coming back in off the back of, 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out, whatever it might have been. So the question kind of then becomes, what forced changes are we looking at as a side? I think first and foremost, James Trezise must come in and play a full game. I think that feels like almost a non-negotiable. The fact that he come on in the last quarter, had 9 disposals, 140 odd metres gained. It was a pretty prolific impact on the game in a quarter that we needed to have a lot of things happening for us to get the win. So I think he well and truly deserves a full crack at it. Some players who might be in the gun to miss out this week. Obviously, Tyler Sonsie got subbed. I think he's been subbed a couple of times now, and we obviously all saw the vision. He wasn't very happy about being subbed. Maybe he felt there was other players out there that were underperforming that could have been subbed ahead of him. I mean, that's obviously speculation, but that's the vibe it kind of gave off with his reaction. He wasn't doing too bad from a disposal-wise. I don't think he was finding it okay, getting in the right spots. But to a lot of other people's points, it was the contest that he was backing out of or not going in hard enough at that probably make the difference between getting picked and not picked for a lot of people. And I can definitely understand that mentality. The tricky flip side, though, is in a point in time where we don't have a lot of people who are hitting targets very well, dropping players who do typically hit targets well could hurt our game in other facets. So it's trying to find that right balance. But he will definitely be one that will be up for discussion, no doubt. Ryan Mansell, a few people have thrown around as someone who could be in consideration to miss. Look, I think it's on the back of his low numbers, low disposal numbers, and low impact in games. He's obviously wanting to get in the faces of opposition. I don't think we'll drop him. I think we do see him as a bit of a spiritual leader of the forward line without Tom Lynch being there. I think he plays a bit more of a deeper role in that sense, in the psyche of the forwards, like an enforcer almost. And you're kind of looking to him to try and ruffle a few feathers of the halfbacks and disrupt their game. But I definitely do take into consideration that we do need to make sure that he's providing something offensively as well, whether it's kicking goals or being in chains of disposals and things like that, which he did early in the game last week. He was involved in a really good chain of passage of play, should I say, in the first quarter that resulted in, I think he had one of the first inside 50s, but he put it to the square instead of the Cozzy. So he's got to improve on that, but it's something he'll obviously get better at, I assume. In terms of some other outs, I don't think there's anyone else that would really be putting their hand up to be omitted. I mean, in terms of coming in, Steely Green's another one. He had another 3-goal game in the VFL. He had about 6 or 7 tackles, a few clearances. They're really good numbers for Steely, and it's what you want to see at AFL level. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult to do that. We're playing a bit of a worse brand at AFL than we are at VFL, so it's a lot more difficult for him to get those numbers. I just don't know if I want to see another week or two of that type of body of work first before we reintroduce him to AFL. Kind of like what we did with Maurice Rioli. We made him play there for like 4 or 5 weeks, get the confidence, get the consistency, and then come in. I think you'll get another shot soon enough, no doubt, though. I've seen a few people mention Maurice Rioli as a player who may be up for consideration to be dropped. I don't see it personally. I know he didn't have the same game against Essendon they did the week before in terms of output and disposals and things like that. I actually don't think he was played as high up the ground as consistently this week against the Bombers, though. So I want to see it kind of get back to that, get him up around the stoppages so we can help out there and get some easy disposal and get the ball moving our way. But I think that is about it in terms of the possibles of who's in the mix. There's not much left in the shed, but the fascinating ones for me are going to be Harry Armstrong and Jasper Alger. Have they done enough somewhere, somehow in training to be considered for senior selection? Jasper, I'm okay with. Harry Armstrong's the one I want everyone's comments on in the chat below. Would you consider Harry Armstrong to play AFL this week if you thought he would offer more than Kaczynski would up forward? Is it a risk? Does it make sense if he's ready to go? Do you just play him? There's so many different things to think about with this one, so I'll be fascinated to see your thoughts. But let us know if there's someone else that I've missed for the ins and outs. I think they are just about it. And until next week, go Tigers.